So go around the room, and then the second round is audio and visual. So we'll be right back.
So we have any audio comments? Alright, do we have any video comments? We'll now continue with the agenda. Does anyone have an agenda?
Special presentations.
Okay. With SOS.
Yeah.
No big deal. We'll now have USACLive presenting.
Hello, my name is Jen Harbath. This is Franklin Enjoy and Alessandro Zilli. And today we will be discussing with Council the UC campaign that was voted upon 2 weeks ago at the UC Summit regarding housing insecurity, food insecurity, and sustainability on UC campuses. So currently at UCLA, 42% of undergraduates reported as food insecure. That's 2 in 5 students in our population. Currently as well, 27% of UCLA graduate students also have reported as food insecure. That's a huge part of our population at UCLA.
How do we improve on this campaign on our campus? First, we need to understand our vision statement. We propose that campuses adopt a series of sustainability-minded measures to address basic needs security at the UC. This campaign demands a reevaluation of our policies and facilities to make the necessary changes for a healthy and self-sustaining future. So some specifics in getting this campaign moving is we'd like to have a common language established. This allows for a facilitated conversation between students, faculty, administration, and legislature to move on with this campaign. We'd also like targeted data collection because at the moment there's very limited data about basic needs and security at UCLA. And by having hard numbers, we allow us to have government and students to mobilize. We'd also like to identify at-risk populations by knowing what populations are being affected by these issues. We could have a more efficient movement of this campaign. We'd like to also increase campus awareness and accessibility because if we don't know where these resources are, we can't use them. And we'd also like to have a cultural shift towards climate action, because at the moment, there's a problem in the society where we overuse resources.
Okay, so the first thing we want to tackle is a reduction in wasted food on campus. So currently, on the Hill, all wasted food is composted. However, all wasted food at ASUCLA isn't composted. And I think that's one of the first steps that can be easy to implement. It's just an extension of the current program. Then we'd like to implement lean path technologies in campus housing, and that's a system of software that's already been implemented at other large universities, and they've seen a reduction in food waste of up to 30%. Now, lastly, we'd like to redirect a lot of the wasted food, so a lot of the stuff that ASUCLA and the Hill have left over at the end of the day, pizzas from 1919, bagels from the cafes, and give them to the UCLA Food Closet and Food Security Commission at the CPO, so that students have a way to access this food. And because the current food closet situation is that as soon as the food gets in there, students come by and pick it up, and so it's always empty. Now, next, we want to target housing expansion because housing costs are a large part of what students spend their money on. So currently, all new constructions at UCLA have to be certified, LEED certified silver or higher. And LEED certification is a type of certification that allows for lesser energy usage and more sustainable buildings. And what we'd like to push for is legislation that will make it so that all new construction on UC campuses, system-wide, will be gold or higher. And that would lead to a reduction in energy costs, which is the savings that we can pass on directly to students. Next, and I think strong people appreciate this because we ran on activated activism, is we want to give students the resources they need to advocate for themselves. We want to give students the ability to form tenant unions around And then also on the Hill, currently the system is privatized, and we'd like for students to have more say in that. Next, we'd like to enforce a standard of living that all campuses must abide by, because if our students don't know where they're going to eat, don't know where they're going to sleep, then they aren't learning, and we can't call ourselves a place of higher learning. And lastly, we want to organize retrofitting older buildings to receive LEED certification. So while LEED certification itself is mostly for newer buildings, there is a LEED certification called LEED bomb certification, which stands for existing buildings operation and maintenance. And that can be easily done. It's just some data analysis and then presenting a report. And then we would go to TGIF and some of the other funds on campus to see what retrofit needs to be done. This is just a short explanation of what LEED is. It's leadership in energy and environmental design. And it can cut potentially 60% of energy costs per housing unit, which is pretty huge if you've ever paid an energy bill that can end up being hundreds of dollars. These are some of the current LEED certified structures, and we just put this up because a lot of people seem to think that for something to be functional, it can't be pretty, and we all like over campus. But some of the structures that are currently LEED certified are some of the prettiest on campus, like Saxon. Next slide. So this is just some more details that the USAC Council should be aware of. So SNAP, which is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and it's through CalFresh, and it's at the California state level, is a program that isn't available to the large majority of students that need it. The large majority of students don't work full-time jobs and don't have children, but they still need some sort of food security. And those are the people we'd like to address with this campaign. So another point we'd like to mention is that in 2015 to 2016, campus residence is going to cost students $14,200 according to the estimate provided by UCLA. That's $1,000 more than it was in 2011, and that rapidly outpaces inflation. That's something that students simply can't keep paying, and they find themselves paying hundreds of dollars more, not just on the Hill, but even around campus, on all the apartments, for the same living spaces without any significant improvements in the standard of living. And lastly, I'd like to thank both Sandra and particularly Rafi for letting us go to the conference and letting us set up this campaign. And yeah, this is something that we really do need to address, and it's a problem that isn't publicized very much, but it is something that we know statistically affects a lot of students.
So, first off, I'd like to say, congratulate all of you on, having attended the conference, along with Augie, seeing you being able to partner with the owner, the Basic Needs campaign, to say we're really bringing this together to show why this is so important, was really commendable, and having this be recognized as for the official campaign from UCSA, I think it's critical. And so congratulations to all of you for that. Additionally, I'd just like to say for all of us in the council, in terms of thinking about issues that we want to maybe take up as an entire body, this is some food for thought and it merits further investigation, and especially Enon, Sandra, were huge proponents of this campaign, and kudos to you and along with Rafi for letting us all be in this space. So I just want to say, thank you all for that. Additional comments or questions from council? Okay, thank you.
Real quick, if they could explain what this handout was that they sent about.
Okay. Well, the handout is just, it summarizes some of the points we made in the presentation and gives some details on what the common language is, so that we can just get spreading the word about what these words actually mean. And then we made a short list of just some points that each council member and their staff can help with this campaign. And if there's anything that you disagree with, or anything that your office can help with, feel free to tell us. And these are just some ideas that you might want to think over.
Okay, now we have some questions. Sure.
Yeah, during the presentation, you talked about tenants unions, for students living on the Hill. Why can't that same efficacy be done through housing development? What would make tenants unions?
I mean, we did say tenants union, but that is something we can also do through housing government, and particularly for on-campus housing, we can talk to them more directly. But a large problem is the fact that currently on-campus housing is privatized, and so that's something that we need to address.
What do you mean by that?
Well, based on a lot of the people we talked to in our research, it's currently not actually like owned by the UCs and owned and operated by
On our
the UCs.
campus it is.
Yeah. Is it?
Yes,
Okay.
but we didn't operate.
Okay.
Yeah, I would follow up to that. You talk about SNAP, why is it not available to most students?
Well, SNAP is currently only available to, well, largely only available to students who either have children or are working full-time jobs. And most students at UCLA don't fall under either of those categories, largely because it's very difficult to work a full-time job and also be a student.
Okay, additional questions from the council? Amy?
Just a question on the point of proposed ideas for each office. What research went into consolidating this list for recommendation for each office?
Also, we just looked at what's it called, platforms that each office ran on there, and just brainstorm some ideas. So it's a fairly informal suggestion.
That one,
You know, okay. Do you have any other questions? Okay. Okay, so, additional questions from council? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, great. So now we will move into appointments for tonight. We have a number on the agenda as last week, so we'll try to be swift. For our first appointment, we have the Campus Programs Committee, the CPC. So before we engage with our nominee, do members of the ARC want to give an overview of the CPC?
Right, so CPC, or Campus Programs Committee, oversees funding regarding topics and programs of an educational and or cultural interest directed at the student body or specific segments of the student body. Basically, they solicit student views on the nature and goals of campus programming and hold hearings to allocate funds for campus programs. This is one year term.
Okay, thank you. So you all got to get an overview. Now before, we have our first, we have our candidate for the Campus Programs Committee, Edmund. Did ARC, were they able to offer any recommendation for Edmund before?
I don't think we were able to do any interviews.
Okay.
Yeah, here now.
So, okay, understood. So I guess then we'll jump right into the interview, since this is an action item, and there is an interview required before the council. So, do we have Edmund with us?
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Great, hi Edmund, this is Jamie here talking. I wanted to, now you're going to do an interview before the council. You will have 1 minute opening, followed by 5 minutes of questions from the council, and then you'll have a 1 minute closing. So, let me just get my timer out of my phone. Whenever you start ready, go ahead with your opening.
All right, I'm starting now. Hello, my name is Edmund Entering, and I'm a junior double majoring in business economics and financial actuarial mathematics. I'm applying for a position as chairperson on the campus programs committee. I am the current director of management at the Art Fund at UCLA, and during my time there, I oversaw a time of restructuring by instituting an application analysis system that allows the board to quickly compare and process funding applications from various student groups while making it easier for student groups to apply to the Art Fund. I hope to take the experience I gained at the Art Fund and apply to this one.
Okay, thank you. Now, Edmund, we'll have 5 minutes of questions from the council. So, do we have questions from the council? Okay, seeing none. Okay, so there are questions. Okay, so Ruth.
You said you were your resume says that you were director of risk management, and that you.
Yeah.
And that you allocated $100,000. What board was this part of?
I couldn't hear the last part of your question. Can you repeat it?
You said that you were, on your resume, it says that you were director of risk management, and you were part of a board that allocated over $100,000 by the school. Which board was this?
This was all last year. Winter and spring.
But what's the name of the board or the organization?
Oh, and the ARC fund under the cultural affairs.
Okay, additional questions? Okay, is that Rafi?
Yeah.
Can you just walk me through how funding works? If I were, a student group, or
Oh, of course.
how do I apply?
Yeah. So first they apply to our, to the fund. At the art fund, they apply by paper and through my online system, which processes the data they put in and allows us to compare it. We then get back to them within 2 weeks and tell them to come in for a hearing where we hear them out and see maybe if the data was misleading and maybe they deserve a little more, or maybe even a little less. And then we allocate within a week and we send that off to SGA and look for them from there.
Okay, and now I think I said, did your hand raised?
Yeah. Can you briefly describe some previous programming experience that you've had?
While I have no previous programming experience with any student group on campus, I do have the experience of overseeing the funding for many student groups, the ARC fund. The ARPA, actually, the CBC also has a youth fund, and I have experience with youth programming. But that was.
Okay, additional questions from council? Okay, seeing none, that concludes your interview portion, and now we will have a 1 minute closing whenever you're ready.
Yeah, all right. My previous research into CPC has shown me that there's one main problem that this fund experiences. Not enough people apply to the fund when compared to its sister fund, the CAC. I want to alleviate this problem by unlinking the CPC from the kind of antiquated application system it currently has and moving it onto the easier system that I instituted at ARC, which has proven effective. I also want to cut down or simplify the 20-page application, which may be deterring applicants. By increasing the throughput of the fund, I hope to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of this fund. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, now, and then as the council moves into its deliberation, you can remain on and view as our discussion or vote, or you can log off right now, and then Patty will notify you of our decision.
I'll stay involved.
Okay, so that being said, I entertain a motion to approve Edmund Dempsey for the campus program committee.
I move to approve Edmund Dempsey for the campus programs.
Second by Enoch, and now we'll move into our discussion. So any points, discussion from council members?
I mean, I think he's looked at the committee in a critical way, which is good because it shows that he's work to fix the different issues that he's seen within it. And obviously, in our fund in the past, he's done some innovative things to kind of facilitate applications and facilitate student groups from receiving.
Okay, additional comments?
I can personally advocate for Edmund. His work on the ARC fund is very impressive. It was the first time. It was the second year for the ARC fund, and his ability to create a mathematical matrix to process all applications was really critical in how successful ARC was in essentially allocating all $100,000.
Thank you, Amy. Additional comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into a vote. All those in favor of appointing Edmund Dempsey to the campus program committee, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 9. All those opposed? None of those abstaining? To a 9-0-0 vote, Edmund has been approved. Congratulations. Okay. Now we move on to our second appointment. This is also an action item. This is for the Student Health Advisory Committee. Excuse me. Before we move into the discussion, does ARC want to give an overview?
Student Health Advisory Committee, or SHAC, exists to provide student participation in advisory administration of UCLA student health services at Cash Center. So it ensures that SHS, the student health services, promotes and provides high quality and equitable health care for UCLA students. It also advises regarding the development and evaluation of Cash Center programs and advises Cash Center leadership on student concern and priority matters, and they also make recommendations regarding the Cash Center budget and campus insurance and benefits. But it's either for 1 year or 2 years.
This is I think I put it down. Is this a 1 year or a 2 year term? This is a 1 year term. Okay. So we all have that information. So now I guess we're gonna have our interview with the appointee, Karina Cuse. So ARC did not conduct the interview, so you have that information. So whenever they get this ready, then we'll have our council interview with Karina.
Sorry, she wasn't answering. We're gonna call the one below first.
Okay, so I guess we will put this on hold and move to our next appointment. So this is for the CS Mini Fund. This was tabled for the previous council meeting, if you don't recall, so just have that information. And I think it's good. Can ARC again explain the CS Mini Fund for the council?
Okay, so this committee is dedicated to providing funds for student community service programs, activities, or services to contribute to the elimination of poverty and social problems, and or provide services such as health and education to the disadvantaged groups. 2 of the 4 committee members must be affiliated with CPO and 2 with CSD, and this is a 1 year term.
Okay, so our appointment is Jose Rodriguez, and since did ARC ever conduct an interview? This is last week, I was just making sure. Okay, so do we have Jose with us?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Hi Jose, this is Danny. Now you're going to have your interview before council. So you'll have a 1 minute opening, followed by 5 minutes of questions from the council, and then you'll have a 1 minute closing. So go ahead, whenever you want to start your opening, just go ahead.
Okay, hi, my name Jose Rodriguez, and I'm a second year political science major. I'm applying towards the CS Mini Fund. So last year I joined the program, an on-campus program called LEAP. And through it I was able to volunteer, and I was able to help my community by mentoring and tutoring other students. But as I was mentoring and tutoring, I noticed that these kids need so much more than just help like through education, through social justice. They need help in so many other ways, and I know that there's so many other organizations that can do that. And that's why I chose to join this committee, because I feel like being in this committee, I can sort of help organizations help the community. And so together I think we can really help the communities prosper.
Okay, thank you. Now Jose, you'll have 5 minutes of questions from council. So, do you have any questions from the council?
What are some funding needs of community service projects?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
What are some of the funding needs of community service projects?
Did you say what are some of the funding needs of the community programs?
Yes. Or community service projects.
Okay, some of the funding, I believe the most important ones are transportation and food. Food might be the most important one because transportation is sometimes covered by the CIC, which is the bigger fund, and CSMA is just meant to be a supplemental fund. So I'd say the biggest one is just food, transportation, and then there's other small supplies that they might.
Okay, additional questions from council? Ruth?
Can you give us the structure of the CS Mini Fund?
Yeah, for the CS Mini Fund, you need, to fill it out, you need at least a minimum of 13 requirements. I just finished filling out the CAC for another organization. I helped them fill it out. And the CS Mini is pretty similar. It contains things like program abstract, statement of need, the budget line items, what else, organization name, the most general things. And so the programs have to submit a proposal, I believe week 4 of each quarter, but this fall quarter is going to be week 3. And then after they submit the proposal, they'll be contacted for a hearing, and after the hearing is when the funds get allocated.
Okay, thank you. Additional questions from council? Okay, seeing none, that concludes your interview portion. And now, Jose, you'll have a 1-minute closing whenever you're ready.
Okay, yeah, so what I like in experience, I make up for it in curiosity and just determination to sort of get to know the CS Mini Fund a lot better. And I feel like if I really am able to master the CS Mini, I'll really be able to help out the program so that they can get as many funds as they need. And I believe that these programs are really important, so I think it's essential for us to make sure that the programs do as much as they can to get the right funds that they need for their program. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now Jose, the council is going to have its deliberations and the vote, so you can remain on and observe from there, or you can log off and Patty can notify you after.
I'll remain on.
Okay. So now can I entertain a motion to approve Jose Rodriguez for the CS Mini Fund?
Move to approve Jose Rodriguez for the CS Mini.
Second? Second by Ruth. So now we'll move into discussion. Any points from the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move right ahead into a vote. So all those in favor of appointing Jose Rodriguez to the CS Mini Fund, please raise your hand. 1, 2. All those opposed? And all those abstaining? 2900 vote. Jose, you've been approved. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Okay. Now, do we want to return to the previous appointment, Patty, or? Okay, so let's just put that up and going. Since you already went over the Student Health Advisory Committee, we'll jump right into the interview.
Sorry.
Patty, do you want us to call recess or should we move on to the next quarter?
Just got an invitation to call, so it should go through.
Okay, then we'll give it another minute and then if it's still not working, we'll move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe we can move on to discussing the consent items, and then Greg will pull it up after that, shouldn't take that long, and then we'll.
Okay, yes, so as Patty said, I guess we'll come back to this if we make a connection later in the meeting. But all the remaining appointments we have tonight are all consent items, therefore there is no interview, and vote before the council. So, we'll jump right into those. So our first is the Advisory Board on Privacy and Data Protection. So does ARC want to give an overview of what that position entails?
Sure. So the USACLive Board on Privacy and Data Protection is through the Office of Information Technology and takes into consideration institutional privacy and data protection needs. These needs must be balanced with the campus's many other values and obligations, for example, innovation, openness, accessibility, transparency, ethical behavior, administrative and legal requirements, etc., and account for external trends of technology and individual expectations. The board reports to the executive vice chancellor and provost and is composed of faculty, admin, and student reps.
Okay, thank you. And since there is no, this is a consent item, the interviewee does not need to appear before the council, and as with the agenda that was sent out, the resumes for all the appointments were sent out, so you can process that information, and if you have questions, you can go ahead and ask. So now, since this is a consent item, unless there are any objections, we'll go ahead and approve this appointment by consent. Yeah.
All consent items are not cited, right?
No.
So,
They're not. Sorry. Okay, so unless there are any objections, then we will approve Sam Ryklansky by consent to the Chancellor's Intellectual Property and Industry Sponsored Research Oversight. Okay, Sam has been approved. Thank you. We move on to our next consent item for the John Woodard Center Board of Governors. There is a 1-year term appointment and then a 2-year term appointment. For the first.
Before you continue, we're doing Kelly O'Malley for Advisory Board on Privacy and Data Protection.
Oh, I am so sorry. I totally, okay, then we should, okay, let's strike that. I totally said, look now. I don't know what happened. I supposed to skip that. Yes, the Advisory Board, Privacy and Data Protection. So, since you just went over what that committee was, I will say, I'm so sorry. Unless there are any objections, we will approve by consent Kelly O'Malley to the Advisory Board on Protection and Privacy and Data Protection. Together, the appointment has been approved by consent. I apologize. Oh, we're good? Okay, and before we go to the next one, we will come back to Student Health Advisory Committee.
Can you hear us? We're gonna get started on your appointment. Are you ready? Can you hear us?
Yes, sorry, I must be having some connectivity.
Yeah, I think that might be what's causing it, but hopefully we'll be able to, stay connected during your interview. So, stay on the line, but we're gonna need to.
Okay. Hi, Karina, can you hear me?
Okay.
Hi. So, now we're gonna.
Yes, just barely, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, we can hear you. That's the important part. So now you'll have your interview before council. You get that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You'll have a 1-minute opening, followed by 5 minutes of questions from the council, and then you'll have a 1-minute closing. You got that?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so now you'll have your 1 minute opening whenever you're ready.
Okay. So, hi everyone, sorry for poor connection. My name is Karina Hughes. I'm a second-year neuroscience major here at UCLA. I'm from a small town in Andover, Massachusetts, where I attended boarding school. Unfortunately, there, our health center in many ways failed us, and I watched my peers struggle with their mental and physical health as a result. But when I moved to UCLA, I found the health services, including the programs at ASH and the coverage through UC-SHIP, radically different and a lot better. And so I know how student health centers affect students. I've seen it, but I've lived it for many, many years. From this experience, I know I have what it takes to actually change the UCLA and what changes would actually affect students. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Now you'll have 5 minutes of questions from council. So, do we have any questions from the council? Yeah.
I don't know what we will be first. I can reiterate it, or you can come up. Okay, I'll do that. Hi. Okay, so are you ensure that ASH provides care and services that respond to needs of all Burmans and what areas do you think are in need of more attention on this?
So I think that especially CAPS has been having the most difficulty reaching out to students, especially freshman students. I've noticed that a lot of my peers have tried to go, which is the acclimate to college life, but they've had trouble getting appointments quickly, or they found it unusable, or they found the service to be really experienced. And as far as ASH goes, I think ASH does a really good job of meeting the daily needs of students. I like that you can co-pay, but I do think there is a bit of an issue with immediate services if you need more urgent care, but it's not enough to go to the emergency room or to an urgent care center. I think there could be better ability to see patients the same day, or at least so that you don't have to walk back from the hill or back from your apartment to pick up something if you're really sick. I think those are the main areas.
Okay. Additional questions from council? Sandra?
An issue that's frequently come up in the past year is the lack of diversity in our CAPS counselors. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think especially UCLA from all cultures all over, that's a really important part of it, because everyone has a different experience with healthcare.
with the same views of what they need and what should be addressed. Coming from a Latin household, I know that certain things, even in my household, were taken very differently than when I met some people from the West Coast and who were from the East Coast and had a different upbringing. So I think it's for sure we reach out to all sorts of people because it's not only cultural, it's also geographical, and sort of has a different experience, so therefore to address that.
Okay, additional questions? Ina.
What is your understanding of the new UC ship health plan?
Sorry, I missed that one.
What is your understanding of the new UC ship health plan?
I'm sorry,
UC ship.
He was asking, what is your understanding of the new UC ship health plan?
You mean moving UCLA to a system-wide, or, I'm sorry,
I think they changed it recently. What does it cover?
not sure.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, then we'll, should we move on to another question? Okay, Rocky.
What role do you think students have in affecting change in the way that ASH is run? And what are the, I don't know, can you hear me? You want me to come closer? Would that help?
Yeah, maybe that might help. Sorry.
So I just wanted to ask, what role do you think students have in affecting change in the way ASH is run? And what are the areas where students can contribute the most in a way that's going to actually make a difference?
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, I guess in how their healthcare should be run, no one knows better than them. And I think people don't know the services that are available to them. I know a lot of people who were surprised to find out that you could be referred from CAPS to the behavioral center, or you could for doctor without a copay, or what exactly is covered. For example, a lot of people didn't know that you get a lot of birth control prescriptions for free. It's hard for students to reach what they need when they don't even know what they have yet. And so I think it's really important to engage them and understand what's available to them, how they can afford it, how they can access it. And then sort of be able to learn better what they need once they know what they have. And so I think a lot of areas that could be improved are presence really in Facebook and other means to input their opinions. So I think it's really important, but I think there needs to be better transparency now because students don't know necessarily what they have and how they can get their opinions across yet.
Okay, that exhausts our time for questions from the council. And now we'll move into your 1 minute closing whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. So living 3,000 miles from home, I know how critical the apps and apps are at UCLA and who utilize them. I'm intimately familiar with many of their offerings, but I also recognize areas of weakness that could be strengthened. I see opportunities for the committee to reach out to unheard voices like freshmen and parents and to strengthen its online presence. One's health is perhaps the most critical aspect to one's well-being. Well, here at UCLA, and what this issue is, and I know how high the stakes are. I hope to continue the important great work of previous advocates that have already helped to make UCLA's so comprehensive.
Okay. Okay, thank you. limited to its voting and deliberation. So you can remain online and listen in, or you can log off, and then Patty will notify you after of the vote.
Okay, stay on for now since it was so much trouble getting on.
Okay, sure. Okay, so can I entertain a motion to appoint Karina Hughes to the Student Health Advisory Committee?
I move to appoint Karina Cruz to the Student Health Advisory Committee.
Seconded by Ruth. So we'll move into discussion. Points, comments from the council?
I think Rena could stand to familiarize herself more with the methods and available resources at the Ash Center, because I know, for example, just one example, she mentioned the lack of like an urgent care system in Ash. However, last year, over the school year, they just installed a new urgent care center on the first floor, but she's otherwise proven her passion for healthcare and her interest in spreading resources to new students, which is obviously very important side in healthcare. And so,
Okay, thank you for the feedback. Additional comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All those in favor of appointing Karina Hughes to the Student Health Advisory Committee, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All those opposed? And all those abstaining? To a 9-0-0 vote, Karina has been approved. Congrats. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was our final action item, and now we will continue with the other consent appointments. And now we'll actually move to the Chancellor's Intellectual Property and Industry-Sponsored Research Oversight Committee. I apologize for the before. So, does ARC want to give an overview of what that committee entails?
sure. So the Chancellor's OIP ISR Oversight Committee serves in an advisory capacity to the UCLA Chancellor on issues of intellectual property and industry-sponsored research. And members will be asked to attend committee meetings as requested, review financial reports and other information provided by this committee. They should possess experience that reflects insight into issues and fairness facing academic institutions in a growing entrepreneurial environment, evidence of an ability to seek out innovative and creative ways to improve operations, produce outstanding results, and dedication to the stewardship of the university's resources. It's also a one-year term.
Okay, thank you. So now we will move, since this is a consent item, unless there are any objections from the council, we'll go ahead and approve Sam Wright-Klansky to the committee by consent. Seeing none, Sam Wright-Klansky has been approved to the Chancellor's Intellectual Property and Industry-Sponsored Research Oversight Committee by consent. Thank you.
Is this a 1 or 2 year?
It's a 1 year. Yep, okay. Thank you, Dr. Geller. Thank you, Council. We'll move on to our next appointment. And this will be for the John Wooden Center Board of Governors. We have 2 appointments, a 1-year term and a 2-year term. But before we jump in, does ARC want to give an overview of the John Wooden Center Board of Governors?
The Wooden Center Board of Governors serves as the formal policy committee for the John Wooden Center, and roles include general operational issues and policies, bond-related maintenance allocations, determination and annual review of fiscal and management operations, equipment and maintenance, expenditures, and review and recommendations regarding renovations and additions to the facility, preparation of annual report and or use of facility, many more other items. This is also a 1-year or 2-year term, as you said.
Okay, thank you, Christina. Now we'll move ahead into our first appointment for Wooden Center with Benjamin Slattery. This will be for a 1-year term. So we have his resume. If there are any objections, we'll go ahead and approve Benjamin Slattery to the John Wooden Center Board of Governors by consent. Seeing none, Benjamin Slattery has been appointed to a 1-year term to the John Wooden Center Board of Governors. Now to our second Wood Center appointment, Lila Vasquez. This is a 2-year term. So as a consent item, or is there any objections, we'll go ahead and approve this by consent. Seeing none, Lila Vasquez has been approved to the John Wooden Center Board of Governors to a 2-year term by consent. Thank you. And now we'll move on to our next appointment position. This is the Transportation Services Advisory Board. So before we move to the appointee, do we want to overview the ARC?
Okay. Transportation Services Advisory Board reviews and evaluates all issues related to UCLA's campus transportation system, which includes campus parking, rideshare, van pool, shuttle services, and Green Go. They review and recommend fees to support campus transportation system, and this is a 1-year term.
Thank you. The appointment I am nominated for this position is Zaira Casanova. So this is a consent item again. Unless there are any objections, we'll go ahead and approve it by consent. Seeing none, Zaira Casanova has been appointed to the Transportation Services Advisory Board by consent. Okay. The next position we have up is the Information Technology Planning Board. So does ARC want to give an overview of what that entails?
Okay. Information Technology Planning Board is the primary governance body for information technology services at UCLA. In conjunction with UCLA's executive management and Senate leadership, the ITPB will establish UCLA's information technology vision, strategic plan, and policy guidelines. They will also serve on the Room Online Advisory Group, and this is a 2-year term.
A 2-year term? Okay. The appointment I nominated is Simon Zhao. Unless there are any objections, we'll go ahead and approve his appointment by consent. Seeing none, Simon Zhao has been appointed to a 2-year term on the Information Technology Planning Board by consent. Thank you. The next appointment we move to is the Green Initiative Fund, TGIF Committee. So before we jump into that, you're going to have an overview of that from ARC.
So TGIF reviews applications for projects that enhance UCLA's sustainability and empower student development. Many will decide which projects to grant funds for their initiative, and funding will come from the money generated by the student fee referendum TGIF. This is also a 1-year term.
Okay, it's a 1-year term. And since we actually do have our appointee with us, Alessandra Zulli, did you want to offer any remarks?
I like this position. I really look forward to learning about all the projects on campus and potentially improving some of them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so with that being said, this is a consent item. So unless there are any objections, seeing none, Alessandra Zulli has been appointed to a 1-year term on the Green Initiative Fund Committee. Congrats. Okay, and our last round of appointments. This will be to the Student Conduct Committee. We have an overview?
So the Student Conduct Committee provides hearings for all cases referred to it under the Student Conduct Code. This is a up to 3-year term.
Okay, so that being said, this is also a consent item. We have 2 appointees for this. Our first appointee, Jehan Kali. Any objections to this appointment? Seeing none, Jehan Kazi has been appointed to the Student Conduct Committee by consent. Our second appointment to the Student Conduct Committee, James Gardner. Any objections to the appointment of James Gardner? Seeing none, James Gardner has been appointed to the Student Conduct Committee by consent. Thank you, Council. That concludes our appointments for this evening. And now we move into officer and member reports, beginning with presidents. So basically, over the past 2 weeks, I had the privilege to attend the UCSA Student Organizing Summit. I'll let Rafi touch on that a lot more, but was just really grateful to be a part of that and to represent the UCLA delegation there and interact with other student body presidents and really have a great conversation about different issues affecting system-wide UC. In addition to that, myself and Rafi met last week with Keith Parker, the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Government and Community Relations, to sort of lay out our priorities for the fall, especially with the election and other priorities about student advocacy over the course of the year. Additionally, earlier this week, I met with a representative, one of the directors of UCLA Partnership, which is housed under the Career Center. They're looking for a member of USAC to be present at their function at the end of September to give an overview of the services that are available for student groups and different students on campus through USAC. So if any of you are interested in representing USAC at that function, and you give an overview, then please let me know after the council meeting. Additionally, last Friday I had the opportunity to sit in the executive search committee for the new police chief of UCLA. This isn't the official selection of a candidate, but it's a process so that input as students we can have in the sort of criteria that they're looking in for a new police chief. So as that progresses along, I'll be sure to update the council on how the selection process goes. And lastly, earlier today, I had lunch with Interim Vice Chancellor Monroe Gordon, Interim Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, to sort of talk about in preparation for the fall, shared priorities between students and administration, where we can collaborate in addition to how they can support our efforts and USAC as a whole. So that was a great workshop to be a part of. And that concludes my president's report. Now we'll move on to PDP. I just stepped out here, so Rafi.
So the UC Student Organizing Summit was, I would call it a huge success. We sent almost 50 students. It was a really, really good group. Everyone was very engaged with what we're doing. I want to commend the UCLA students who brought up the UCSOS campaign, which is look at sustainability, sustainable approach to housing, food, and security in the next couple of years. The other thing that you may or may not have heard is that UCSA actually chose 2 campaigns for the next year. The second one is Reignite. For those of you who are older than Rue, you'll probably remember the Ignite campaign, which was to address the prison school pipeline, as well as diversity within the UC. If you're interested in either of these campaigns, please let me know. Other than that, I have a couple of super important updates regarding voter registration that concerns everyone here. Voter registration is really, really, really important to everything all of us do here, because the number of people that we register this fall is the number that we'll be using for the next 2 or 4 years everywhere we go. So in 2 years, the state will be choosing a new governor, and the fate of UC tuition will likely rest on who that governor is. And we need to be able to go to that governor and assure and have him assure us that he supports funding the UC, and we can't do that at all if we have not registered students to vote. We need to be able to go to leaders in higher education, to people that are pressuring the state and say that we've registered 70,000 to 80,000 students across the UC. So for everyone here, we're going to have a USAC office-wide competition between all the offices. For those of you listening, we probably have a head start here. That's going to start earlier in the fall. We're also going to be competing with USC to see if we can register more students. We're looking to register 15,000 students on campus. I'm emphasizing all of this because the success of voter registration rests on all of you as much as it does on me. I really, really, really need all of you to make this a priority in work that you're doing, whether you're putting on events, engaging with students through your organizations, whatever it is. There are avenues for voter registration, through all of these. We're going to be targeting students in 101 different ways. I'm working together with 7 different student orgs on this, but I'm going to be annoying you all a lot about this. So please like come to me first so I can not annoy you as much. And voter registration, it's fun. It's fun. It's very fun. Yeah.
Yeah, something that,
Yeah.
also something that's relevant to everyone, the tuition hike, I guess, is on freeze until next year, so after that, tuition's gonna start rising again, and, you know, that's something that voter registration has something directly to do with, because as students, we should be the ones voting for those people in our state that'll, you know, help decrease their tuition and not let it rise to like substantial amounts like it has. But yeah, next year is when the freeze ends and we don't know what's gonna happen. Like these campaigns, we might have to prioritize in order to fund the UC, but that's something that affects us.
Yeah, the regions in January will be voting on a tuition hike. It's very likely we will face another tuition hike next year. And when people say that we have power in numbers of students, that means students who are voting. Students who are not voting are not included in that at all because lawmakers, you know, frankly don't care. So please, get involved with Bruins vote this fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi. Now we will have the Academic Affairs Commissioner. Do you have anything to report?
No pressing updates.
Okay, thank you. Now we move on to our administrative representatives. Starting with Dr. Bell.
No, nothing new, just, I've heard, I want to reinforce, I understand that you made a request for there to be a student panel to revise the police, and I've heard that being taken very seriously.
Okay.
So you're being heard.
That's great. Thank you for that, Dr. Bell. Additional administrative.
A couple of things that are coming in. I sent you an email, Rafi. City of LA is offering a Clean Streets Challenge initiative, and so it's for community groups to figure out creative ways of keeping their streets cleaner. I think the fraternity area might be a great place to kind of take a look at that. But it's free money, so take a look at it, see if that's of any interest to you or others that might nibble on that. And there's a Congress of Neighborhood that's at City Hall on Saturday, September 24th. It's all the neighborhood councils coming to City Hall to talk about what's happening in their communities. And you are your own kind of little city, and to find out what other communities are doing might be interesting. You know, Westwood Neighborhood Council has representatives, but it's an open kind of thing. So you might take a look at that. There may be some interesting things to learn and hear about what's happening in the city. And then I was invited to sit on a roundtable to talk about policing in the 21st century. And Cal State LA's Pat Brown Institute is looking at a 4-session class to talk about it. I was at a community group, and then they were vetting it with LAPD officers, so kind of 2 different kind of constituents, and take a look at what should the conversations be about how we think about and move our thinking forward. So that's in the works as that comes forward. I'll keep in mind.
Yeah, and really quickly, something I want to add on with Dr. Geller in her report, something that I've been really wanting to, and I didn't mention this in my report, advocating for is some sort of community advisory committee over UCPD here at UCLA. I think that that's something important that other campuses have. They have at UC Santa Barbara, for example. So as those discussions progress, then I would keep the council updated. And if you have input that you'd like to, that you have in terms of sort of how that's going to come to fruition, please let me know. I'd love to have you.
If we need to see that include not only students but staff.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Please, do you have a question?
Yeah, just that, because I've been doing, policing a lot recently. That's something we brought up in like the Reignite campaign. Obviously, I was working closely with the SOS campaign, but if you remember, a lot of students, primarily Black students, they don't feel safe on your campus because of the recent police brutality. I mean, we haven't faced it as much, I guess, at UCLA, but I can speak on behalf of that community. But I know a lot of students do feel unsafe, and they feel that is more of a basic need, security on campus, than food and housing for many people. So that's something that really should be taken seriously as well. So if you want, I can And I don't know who is running, Robbie, do you know who's
Yeah,
spearheading the grade night
here, no, we don't have it, we'll do.
Okay, so whoever's doing that, I'm sure there's like.
Well, yeah, if you have more information, or if you wanna, as I learn more about sort of like through the administrative channels, you know, how this is gonna come to fruition, then, you know, please let me know if you have suggestions. Yeah.
I know the deputy chief for West Bureau, that's Hollywood, Pacific, West LA, those kinds of things. So I know some of the local LAPD folks that I'm sure happy to sit down and talk all the time.
Okay. And, sorry to take away, and now we have Patty, anything? Okay, that would be our administrative reports. Now, Student Wellness Commissioner, Christina, do you have anything?
Yeah, a little bit. So last week I was able to sit down with the Healthy Campus Initiative steering meeting headed by our Assistant Vice Provost, Dr. Weinland-Slayer, and there it was discussed the new bike share program that will be popping up in the next year or two, as well as the response needed in campus emergency situations and how they'll be changing Bruin Alert, sorry.
Yeah.
But Bruin Alert and other changes that'll be undergoing following the findings and safety concerns following the incident of gun violence on June 1st this past year. I'll also be meeting with Dr. Barron, who's the head of the Ash Center, and Rena Ornstein, instructor of the UCLA Student Health Education and Health Promotion next week. So just to discuss what SWC and Ash Center can do together.
Great. Thank you. And now we have an officer report from the Facilities Commission.
Awesome. I'm so excited to give a lot of updates to you all for sustainability, safety, student resources, and lastly, policy. To start off with safety, I think our CSO van service is grossly outdated, and the service sort of sucks. It's not really helping anyone. So starting off with that, during 10th week, the weekend between 10th week and finals, our commission has been working on offering night shuttle services during the weekend, which has never been done before. So now Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will have shuttles from 7 p.m. till midnight. On top of that, we're trying to work with the CSO van services to make sure that they keep their schedule and that they get their system on check. It's really bad if your friends have ever talked about it. So let's talk about safety. For sustainability, we have 3 programs going on. First, we have Dining Hall Food Waste Awareness Campaign. There was a study done on the Hill that each student wastes on average a hamburger every meal. So they'll throw a hamburger worth of food away at every meal time, and that's not something that a student should be doing on our end. So we're working on an awareness campaign. We have fundings in store for that. Next, we're working on USACLive food wasted collection. If you aren't aware, at like Kirchhoff Cafe at the end of the day, they'll just throw away all their bagels. They'll throw away all their sushi packages and stuff. And that could easily be going to the food closet. And so we're working with UCLA executive chef and dining services to make sure that's not happening. And lastly, I've been very disappointed at UCLA's progress in our sustainability goals. We're not meeting our water action goals. We're not meeting our zero waste or carbon neutrality goals. And I feel as student leaders, we need to understand where we are. And we're not there yet. And they're starting to extend these plans 5 years later, but have the same goals in check. And I feel like that's a problem. And lastly, we have student resources. If I could briefly go back to the Sustain Our Students campaign, I think it's vital that us as student leaders recognize that basic needs insecurity is a pressing issue right now. To give you the number again, 42% of UCLA undergraduates report as food insecure. So that's more than 4 out of 10 UCLA students you know are food insecure. That means they don't know where their next meal is going to come from, or they don't know if they can have a nutritious meal at the end of the day. And so I understand that these recommendations were just made by the Sustain Our Students Committee, and there's a lot of work to be done. And so right now, we're building reports for each UC school. I just met with UCR today. And we want to make the correct recommendations. And so I want to apologize if there was anything incorrect. And there are already existing programs. It's definitely something we have to work on. Granted, SOS, Student Organizing Summit, just happened last weekend? No, last weekend? Wow. Yeah, so we've done a lot of work in, was it 2 weekends ago? Okay, that was yeah, oh, and the last thing is I'd like to learn more about housing security on campus, because it seems like our SWIPE programs and our on-campus housing is way too much. I know that for a university apartment, you're paying around $900 a month, including utilities. And I've heard from a faculty member at UCLA that our housing system is for profit. And I'm not quite sure if that's true. Is it not? It's not true. Okay. Then I assume there must be a reason why students are paying so much in rent and food.
We have built a lot of new buildings, so new construction
Right.
cost, and so that's a lot of what you're seeing is the cost of construction. If you look at how many buildings we've built in the last 10 years, and then before that, so there's been an influx of building, so you have to start paying off that debt.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
much of what it is.
So students are paying off the debt and their rent, right?
In order to house, and we still don't have enough housing, right? We have
Right.
to build.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to know.
I think to add to that, when you consider like enrollment mandates from University Office of the President, UC Office of the President, how that's increasing year by year, and how that's putting strain on the system and sort of the distribution of resources, that is a major contributor as well.
Then if those housing costs are set, then I think we can work on scholarships or other resources to meet these basic needs and securities. But yeah, thank you.
Any questions for Sandra?
So Sandra, just on that last point that you made, I think one of the immediate goals is one of the things that I'm helping target is room shelter. One of my friends is the lead director of this, and he is right now like they're looking for who is going to be like directors, who are going to be volunteers. One of the things is we're just getting food. So one of the things that CAP is doing internally is we're going to be every staff meeting making a comment with like a dry good or a canned good or something. They don't have a lot of space, so if you would do something like a food drive within your own office or beyond, to be okay with housing stuff in your office on their behalf, because that's what I'm going to be doing for them. But yeah, room shelter is essentially open so that students that, you know, don't have the security of housing, essentially have a place to go and a place to sleep and eat and whatnot. So if you want the contact, just let me know, because a lot of them are my personal friends on the board.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that concludes our officer and member reports. Now we move into fund allocations, only allocation at today's contingency programming.
Okay, so for contingency, two orgs applied for a total required of $1,670.30. Total requested for $792.30. And total recommended by FICOM is $285.
Okay. Can we entertain a motion to approve this allocation?
I move to approve this allocation.
You have to say the exact money. Can you repeat these?
Yeah, $285.
I move to approve $285
To contingency.
to contingency.
Okay, seconded. Actually, all those in favor, please raise your hand. 9. All those opposed? And all those abstaining? 900 vote. Contingency allocation has been approved. Okay, and we have no old business or new business, so now announcements. I'll start with Dr. Gale, we'll go around the room. Any announcements? Yeah.
So, first one is, I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Brian McDonald from ORL. If not, he's a name that you should be familiar with. He's a great resource. So last year, USAC, basically presented in front of the RAs. The presentation was anything that you wanted to disseminate from your office. If you didn't have anything to share from your office, then you would just introduce yourself. And, so people become familiar with your face and what position you hold on campus. So this year, he's essentially allowing us to present again in front of the RAs, because the great thing about presenting to the RAs is that they're able to disseminate the information to their residents. It's part of their training. I'm going to read what he sent to me to tell you all, but I'll also email it to you all. He said, with the new academic year upon us, Residential Life is preparing for our annual student staff kickoff Friday, September 9th in the Palisades Ballroom in Carousel Commons from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It will feature student storytelling, special guest speakers, and inspiring messages for the new year. We reserve time in between segments for select campus partners to introduce themselves and share relevant announcements as we prepare to move in. Last year, the various commissions and leadership of USAC greeted our staff and shared quick exciting updates for the beginning of the year. With CAP already on board to share information about Bird Bash, and Jordan also was CC'd in this email, we invite others to do the same. We hope this also contributes to an overall sense of partnership and collaboration with our partners in Residential Life. The event will conclude with lunch and activities at 12 p.m. Sunset. So Jordan and I are going to be going to present about Bird Bash because RAs do help a lot day of because they see their students, they're able to direct their students, but we would love if y'all can also come and make yourselves known to the RA community. And yeah, I'll say everything else for
There was the date.
September 9th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I can ask him specifically what time he wants us to come in. Last time there was like a specific time to come in, as opposed to a 2-hour time slot.
Thank you, Ian. You'll
forward
that. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you. Additional announcements from council? Yeah.
If anyone asks me, sign-ups are now in the open up today. Actually, I'm getting on the old website. So if anyone happens to come to you, just let me know that's how it's going. It's on a first come first served basis. So then it's pretty much if you want to guarantee a table, you should sign up now. USAC tables, I'm pretty sure guaranteed, so you don't have to deal with that. But if anybody happens to ask you, just please let them know about it. So that way they can sign up and not be upset and build up. Yeah.
So it's CAC,
It's CC and CAC.
Activities, right?
Yeah. It's on the 20th, by the way.
Yeah, just, USAC generally, we still have to let the EAF committee know how many tables are gonna be out there, so there's not wasting resources. But if y'all want your office to be represented at EAF, you need to tell Jordan and I, so we prefer this discuss in an email, so we can have the table set up for you, in front of the big fountain, fire voice and all that. That's usually where all the USAC offices are placed. So right when the students come up the stairs, they'll hit all of USAC. And then they'll go to the EAN. So yeah, signups are available now. And it is first come first served, so the spaces are limited, not all student groups are catered to.
Yeah, and if you want to email somebody, assistant commissioner is kind of handling buses right now. If you want to write this down, to know the contact, get a table for your commission or your office. It's cdc.assistantcommissioner@gmail.com. And yeah, so her name's Madison. Just say, hey, I'm the USAC office. I'm wondering how I can get a table. Just CC me or Amy in it so you know what's going on in the video.
Okay, thank you, Jordan. Additional announcements? Okay.
A couple of questions. One being, with the activities fair, is there going to be an opportunity for departments to table? And do you know when, if so, the registration for that might go out?
I know last last year there was that opportunity, so I'm for sure that they'll probably carry it over into this year, but I can definitely send an email to, both of our assistant commissioners to make sure that if anything, I can forward the information to you.
That would be helpful. And, wondering if there's any tentative dates yet for the USAC officers retreat? How the planning might be going for that. That's typically happening before school starts.
Yeah, I think that, I'll follow up with Sabrina about the progression on that and see if it's been popped up, so, yeah.
I have one announcement, because there was a question that came up last week, or last time we met, about having issues finding our ski bowl at the SAT for a few, I don't even know how many are left, but they actually have a whole canopy just for you staff. And like, right?
It's like the worst, it's like, right in the sun.
Oh, yeah. So I know they have like designated spots, and I know there's some problems like being able to find the table, but they have like a canopy for you staff. Maybe we can talk to them about in the future moving it or something, but I just wanted everyone to know there is a spot for you, like all of them.
Thank you. I have one more question. Is there some way they could print the signs that other tables have that just says student government? Because no one has any idea what USAC is, or president, and they're just like, I was like, I don't know how to explain this to you, but.
Yeah, okay.
Something maybe that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a lot more students would.
I'll make a note of that.
Thank you.
Okay, and I have one announcement from council on, next Wednesday, August 31st, at 12 p.m. The Campus Safety Task Force, one that I've been talking about the past few meetings, the chancellor convened to review all safety protocols after the June 1st shooting. We're going to be having our community forum at the James Weston Alumni Center. That's next Wednesday, August 31st. So if any of you want to attend and give feedback about what should be a recommendation that's included to suggest to improving campus safety protocols, or if you have anyone in your networks that might be interested, please go ahead and make them aware of that opportunity. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, and I think that concludes our announcements. Now we'll conclude with the signing of the attendance sheet. And can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn this meeting.
At 8:30.
At 8:30.
Okay, second. Take my room. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5, 6, 8, 9. All those opposed? And all those abstaining? Meeting has been adjourned at 8:30. Now we conclude with good and welfare.
I hope you all enjoyed your summer. When we were back to the week. And so,
So yeah, sorry.